They say abundance never visits the fearful. But maybe that's not entirely true. Maybe abundance has always been visiting, only we never answered the door. Imagine, for a moment, that wealth isn't a number in a bank account, or a pile of coins, or even the dream of a better life. Imagine wealth as a person, kind, patient, radiant, standing just outside your door, softly knocking. Not demanding, not forcing, but waiting for you to open your heart. For years, you may have heard that gentle knock in subtle ways. A new idea, an opportunity, a whisper of inspiration that said, "Try this, take a chance, believe again." But instead of answering, you peeked through the curtain and whispered, "Not yet. I'm not ready. What if I fail? What if it doesn't last?" You told yourself stories about struggle, about unworthiness, about timing that never felt right, and in doing so, you left the door closed, while wealth kept standing there, smiling, patient, knowing that one day, you would finally be ready to say yes. The truth is, most people treat money like a stranger. They greet it with fear and suspicion, as if it's something dangerous that could disappear at any moment. They talk about it with guilt, saying things like, "Money doesn't grow on trees," or "People with money are selfish," or "It's too hard to make ends meet." These words, repeated over and over, become walls, invisible barriers that keep abundance from entering. You see, money is energy. It carries emotion, vibration, and memory. It knows when it's welcomed, and it knows when it's not. So pause and ask yourself, how do you treat wealth? When money visits you, do you smile and say, "I'm grateful you're here"? Or do you tighten your heart, worry it might leave, and begin counting what's missing? Every time you fear loss, you close the door a little tighter. But every time you express gratitude, even for a small blessing, you turn the handle and open it wider. Wealth doesn't want your fear. It wants your friendship. It doesn't respond to desperation, but to respect. It doesn't stay where it's resented, but it lingers where it's loved. The relationship you have with money mirrors the relationship you have with yourself. If you believe you are worthy of good things, wealth feels safe with you. If you see yourself as lacking, it stands outside, unsure if it should come in. So, maybe it's time to change the story. Maybe it's time to look at wealth, not as something distant or difficult, but as an old friend who has come to visit after a long journey. Imagine opening the door, smiling, and saying, "Where have you been? I've missed you." Feel the warmth of that welcome. Feel the peace in that moment. That's how abundance enters. Not with force, but with invitation. Because the secret is simple: wealth has always been knocking. It's you who must open the door. What if the true doorway to wealth isn't found in the world outside, but in the quiet chambers of your own mind? What if the reason abundance feels far away isn't because it's hiding, but because you've been looking in the wrong direction? The world teaches us to chase, to run after success, to compete, to fight for every inch. But wealth isn't something you chase. It's something you align with. It's not a prize, it's a reflection. A mirror that shows you what you truly believe you deserve. Think about it. When you see someone living in comfort, thriving with ease, do you feel inspired? Or does a quiet voice whisper, "That's not for me"? That small voice is the gap between you and abundance. It's not the world holding you back. It's the thought that you are not ready, not capable, or not worthy of more. But the moment you begin to change that belief, something extraordinary happens. The air feels lighter. Possibilities begin to appear. The world doesn't suddenly become easier. You become clearer. Wealth responds to that inner clarity. It flows to those who make peace with it, not those who beg for it. When you stop seeing money as something outside of you and start seeing it as energy that moves through you, everything begins to shift. Money isn't moral or immoral. It's neutral. It takes on the character of the one who holds it. In loving hands, it builds homes, feeds families, and creates beauty. In fearful hands, it hides, escapes, or causes pain. The difference isn't in the money. It's in the mindset. So begin to bless what you already have. Look around and notice the small forms of wealth that already fill your life. A safe place to rest, the breath that sustains you, the food that nourishes your body, the ideas that spark in your mind. Every one of these is proof that abundance already knows your name. The moment you acknowledge it, you expand its presence. Gratitude is not a polite gesture, it is a spiritual key. It unlocks doors that struggle keeps closed. Now, speak to wealth not with hesitation, but with friendship. Whisper softly, "I'm glad you're here. I've made space for you in my life." Feel the peace in those words. When you treat money like an old friend, with love, respect, and ease, it begins to stay longer. It begins to trust you. Because wealth, like any friend, wants to feel appreciated. It wants to belong. Fear says, "I hope it doesn't leave." Faith says, "I'm grateful it came." The more you speak from faith, the more your energy aligns with prosperity. You stop chasing wealth and start attracting it. The universe moves toward that vibration, responding in quiet but powerful ways. A new opportunity, a sudden idea, a door you didn't know existed suddenly opening. This is the change within. The sacred moment, when you stop asking and start allowing. When you realize that wealth isn't a visitor to be begged for. It's a friend that has always been waiting for your heart to open wide enough to say, "Welcome home." Now that you've opened the door and changed what lives within, it's time to live as if the guest has already arrived. Not to wish for wealth, not to wait for it, but to embody it. To breathe it, speak it, and walk with it. Faith is not hoping, faith is knowing. It's living each day as if abundance has already taken a seat at your table. When you rise in the morning, don't look at what's missing. Look at what's possible. Don't measure your worth by numbers or possessions, but by the peace that fills your chest when you remember that the source of all things flows through you. To live as the welcomed one is to live in harmony with the energy of plenty. You begin to speak differently. You stop saying, "I can't afford it," and instead whisper, "I'm aligning with it." You stop envying others and start celebrating them, because you understand that someone else's gain is proof that the current of prosperity is alive and moving. And that same current is available to you. You begin to walk lighter, speak kinder, and work with purpose instead of pressure, because wealth isn't built from force. It's built from flow. When you live this way, everything shifts. The smallest things start to feel divine. A paid bill, a kind client, a simple meal. Each becomes a reminder that you are supported by something greater than circumstance. And the more you honor what you already have, the more you magnetize what's still on its way. Gratitude multiplies what it touches. Every thankful thought is a silent command to the universe saying, "Yes, I am ready for more." But remember, living as the welcomed one isn't about pretending to be rich. It's about feeling rich in spirit first. It's about carrying a quiet confidence, knowing that wealth is no longer a stranger passing through, but a loyal companion walking beside you. You'll begin to see opportunities where others see obstacles. You'll sense divine timing where others see delay. Because once your heart welcomes abundance, even waiting feels sacred. So take care of the energy that surrounds your money. Keep your wallet organized, your workspace clean, and your intentions clear. Every action you take tells wealth how you value it. When you honor your earnings, you honor the flow that brought them to you. When you give freely, you prove that you trust in endless supply. And when you spend joyfully, you tell the universe, I believe there will always be enough. Soon, you'll realize that wealth was never something to earn, chase, or demand. It was a reflection of your readiness, a mirror of your belief, a guest that was always waiting just outside, listening for your invitation. So tonight, as the world grows quiet, and your thoughts begin to slow, take a deep breath and smile. Feel the peace of knowing that abundance has finally come home. Then whisper softly, not in hope, but in certainty, welcome home, my friend. I've been expecting you. Wealth isn't something you find. It's something you remember. It's the quiet knowing that the universe was never withholding from you. It was waiting for your belief to catch up. The moment you stopped chasing and started welcoming, everything began to shift. You realized that abundance was not a visitor from outside, but a reflection of peace within. When you treat wealth like an old friend, with trust, gratitude, and respect, it never leaves. It grows, it multiplies, and it blesses not just your life, but the lives of everyone it touches through you. Because true prosperity is not measured in what you keep. It's revealed in what you share. So keep your door open, your heart peaceful, and your words kind. Let your actions whisper faith, and your thoughts echo gratitude. The universe listens to both. And when you live with this awareness, wealth doesn't just visit. It stays. Tonight, as you rest, know this truth deeply: abundance is no longer coming. It has already arrived. And somewhere beyond the scene, a gentle voice smiles and says, thank you for finally letting me in.